Hi, this is Stuart with Spitfire Audio's customer experience team, and I'm here to show you Originals Mrs. Mills Piano. Starting in the top left corner of the plugin window, you'll find an LED. This will alternate between green and red whenever the plugin is fully loading, but will remain a constant green whenever the plugin is fully loaded. To the right of that are CPU and disk meters. These help in monitoring the performance of your computer while using the library. Following that is a memory view. This shows the amount of content that's being preloaded into RAM. Moving on from that is the voices count. This shows how many streams of audio are being played simultaneously. Outside of those views is a refresh button. Clicking on the button will refresh the plugin instance, while Option or Alt clicking will refresh all instances of the plugin. This is useful for things such as hanging MIDI notes. On the right side of the plugin window is the MIDI channel selection dropdown. This defaults to any, but MIDI channels 1 through 16 can be selected if need be. You then have tuning and panning controls, as well as the master volume for the output of the plugin. Clicking on the ellipsis allows you to access the velocity response. This defaults to linear velocity, but can be changed to be shelf velocity, exponential negative, or exponential positive. You can also reset or clear the CC mappings from here as well, if need be. Clicking on the cog in the top right corner of the plugin window allows you to access the settings for the plugin. On the general page, you can copy the settings from this plugin so that they're applied to all of your other Spitfire dedicated plugins. In the Interface tab, you can toggle the help text on and off, change the default size and scale of the plugin window, enable automatic unload with mixer fader, meaning that whenever a mixer fader is moved to the bottom, it automatically offloads the signal. You can change the way the gain units are displayed, whether that be in decibels as opposed to a percentage. You can disable host automation, change the knob drag type, disable warnings from missing samples, and disable the auto hide knob parameter pop-up. In the audio tab, you can set the maximum voices playable, change the preload size, stream buffer size, and the master tuning. You can also change the default stereo outputs here as well. The plugin tab allows you to change the default preset that loads whenever the plugin is initially opened. In this case, it's Mrs. Mills Piano Clean. The About tab will give you a link to the manual as well as our EULA. On top of that, there's also some other acknowledgments and different software licenses. If everything looks good, go ahead and click Save. If you wish to discard anything, you can do so by clicking Cancel. The plugin window is split into two sections, a top half and a bottom half. Using the inward pointing arrows, you can collapse the view of the plugin window so that it's only the top half. Simply click on the arrows again to expand the view back to how it was. To load a patch, click on the downward pointing arrow to open the drop-down menu. This is where all of the patches available in the library will reside. There are also various filters such as Starred, Modern, and Vintage, as well as user presets that have been saved as well. To load a patch, simply click on the patch name and click Load. Beneath the drop-down menu are two faders and a knob. The leftmost fader is the expression. This adjusts the level of the technique that's being played. The second fader is the dynamics fader. For long techniques, this will increase or decrease the dynamic being played, while for short techniques, this will limit the lowest velocity playable, essentially acting as a dynamic range compressor. Following the faders is the knob. Clicking on the knob exposes the same controls that can also be seen below. In this case, they're reverb, tightness, hammers, and pedal. In the bottom left corner of the plugin window are the signals that are available with the library. For this library, they're close, room, and vintage. To enable a signal, click on the control beneath the signal name. The fader can then be adjusted to set the level as you wish. Once you find a mix you're happy with, you can save it by clicking on the downward pointing arrows. To load the preset, click the set of arrows directly to the right of the downward pointing arrows. Following the mixer section are the controls that were also available on the knob above. The first control is the reverb control. This changes the amount of reverb being added to the overall mix and makes use of a 1950s Abbey Road plate reverb set to 2.5 seconds. To the right of that is the tightness control. This cuts further into the note to make it tighter. The hammers volume controls the volume of the piano's hammers, adding more depth to a performance. Finally, the pedal volume controls the volume of the sound of the sustain pedal being pressed and released. This can be useful for adding realism. Once all of the adjustments have been made and the plugin is sounding exactly as you want it to hear, you can click on the lock icon in the top right corner of the control section. This will lock all of the controls and the signals so that no accidental changes are made. This has been Originals Mrs. Mills Piano. If you have any questions or need any help, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks for watching Spitfire Clips. Let us know if it was too long, too short, too fast, or too slow in the comments down below. Hit like if we answered your question, and subscribe for more clips, tips, tricks, and exclusive Spitfire content.